it's Nina. Thanks so much for joining me today. Today I'm going to be sharing some cards that feature how to use simple coloring supplies that you can get at any store. You probably even have some from your kids. I'm going to be using Crayola markers. I'm going to do watercoloring to create these beautiful colored images, and I'll show you how easy it is to be able to do this. Now I'm going to be using some stamps from the Pretty Pink Posh Friends Forever stamp set. I'm stamping them onto white cardstock with Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink. I'm stamping them twice to get a darker impression because I feel that helps make the image a little bit darker. Now these are the markers that I'm going to be using today for our coloring. These markers are by Crayola, and they are just like the other Crayola markers that you can get for your kids in the school supply section. These were actually included in the Simon Says Stamp recent card kit animation. I'm going to be using these to color in the images that you see here from the Pretty Pink Posh Friends Forever set. I wanted to show this to you because this is a really easy way to be able to use things that you already have on hand to be able to create really beautiful colored images. You can use any type of product, and if you have different types of markers that are water-based, not just the Crayola ones, you could get similar effects. These particular Crayola markers are water-based, so that's going to allow them to blend and be able to be moved with water, so that way we can go ahead and create watercoloring effects. Now, if you wanted to color them in with just the markers and not bother doing the watercoloring, you could definitely do that. These markers color very well. However, I wanted to be able to create the watercolor effect, and I think it looks really cool to be able to blend these colors out and see what kind of really neat effects you can get by doing this. Now, the skin tones, of course, I only have 12 colors here, but I need to create skin tones for these kids. So by mixing a little bit of orange and brown together and really fading it out with some water, that's going to allow me to get a really nice peachy color. And by doing just some simple blending and mixing of colors, you can get any color spectrum you need using even just 12 markers. The water brush I'm using here is a medium tip. We have these at Simon Says Stamp. I'll have them linked in the video description. I'm continuing to color these images in with the colored markers and also the water brush. Now, one thing I'll mention is that by the end of the coloring and when I get started on building the cards, you'll notice that the coloring was different on these kids slightly. And that was because I got black ink on top of this paper and I totally messed up the kids and I had to go ahead and redo them. So I went ahead and did that, and you'll notice that as I go ahead and finish up the coloring. But I did do the coloring the exact same way when I redid them. I just didn't film it. I just quickly went ahead and colored them back in so that way I could continue working on my card. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm adding little fine details with the markers. After I've gone ahead and added the base coat, I'm going back over top, adding darker shading, going ahead and adding in some details like on the hair especially. I'm fading that out but not blending it out completely because I want it to look a little bit more realistic. So literally you can create any type of effect with these markers and get really beautiful results. Now these markers do give slightly different results than a professional watercolor set, but if this is what you have on hand, I'd say use it because you can get beautiful results with these markers, and they're very inexpensive, so this is also perfect for kids as well. If kids want to do some watercoloring, just give them a few markers and some watercolor paper and you can go right to town. So as I finish up the coloring, I went ahead and cut these out with my fine tip scissors. You can use the dies that go with this stamp set. I just don't have them, so I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut them. I also stamped a bunch of the balloons and I colored them with similar colors, and that allows me to embellish the kids a little bit. And I'll go ahead and embellish the balloons further in a little bit here. After I've gone ahead and colored in the kids and cut them out, I'm working on building my seam. So I'm taking another marker. This is a green marker, and I'm drawing in grass. This is a great way to be able to stretch the use of your markers to give yourself a seam. I went ahead and created this scene. I didn't need any extra dies or papers or anything like that. Just using my markers, I was able to blend both the yellow and the green together to create a nice grassy area. After I blended it out and it dried, I'm taking that green marker once again, and I'm going to go back over top of the grass and add some finer details. I also brought in some dye ink and an ink duster brush and just quickly added a little bit of blue to the sky, and that's going to give it a little bit more of a realistic look. Now, because these cards are going to be encouragement cards, I'm going to be using a few different stamp sets that I felt really had some nice sentiments that could work well for encouragement cards. So first I'm using a stamp set called Uplifting Thoughts. This is by Simon Says Stamp. And I cut apart the sentiment so I could stamp it in multiple colors. Now you could stamp it in just one color, but I love being able to kind of get more use out of my sentiments by cutting them up and being able to create new effects. So I used a couple of different colors that matched this little girl here. This is the one I'm going to be putting onto this card. And I'll go ahead and add a couple other ink colors. And I did the same thing for the other panels. I stamped the sentiments in different colors, and that allowed them to match really well with the kids that are going on each card. So after that, I took some rainbow papers from Lawn Fawn. These are the rainbow plaid. And I'm going to be using this basic rectangle die from Simon Says Stamp to go ahead and cut out the paper. Now you could go ahead and trim this down, of course, with a paper trimmer. But I love using the largest rectangle from this die set to cut down papers that I want to use on my card bases because it covers them perfectly. Now this is also perfect if you want to go ahead and die cut a particular pattern paper that you want a specific area of the paper. This makes it so much easier. So I took the pattern paper and put it onto a white card base, A2 sized, and then I matted my scene with a bit of cardstock that coordinated with the scene. I'll also pop that up onto my card, but this time I'm using fun foam instead of regular adhesive. I did the same thing for all the other cards. And then I'm finally going to be taking some Nouveau glitter drops. This is the White Blizzard color. And I'm going to add that over top of every balloon on my card. I also did add a little bit of white dot detail to the kid's face, and that just added some interest to their cheeks. So what I hope is that you got some inspiration from these cards to be able to use supplies that you already have on hand, like these Crayola markers. This allows you to use supplies that you already have to get results that I think really look cute and have a really nice feel. This is a very simple technique and is perfect for not only adults but kids as well. So if your kids are looking to create some cards for friends or family members, this would be a great way for them to break out some art supplies and create some really cute cards that have a lot of meaningfulness to them. So I hope this video has given you inspiration. Please visit the Simon Says Stamp blog to get more information on these cards, including still pictures and products used. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more inspiration. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you again next week. Bye!